Hello. It says recording, so I'm gonna go with it. It says it's recorded, just so everyone knows. We lost Ashley's interview the other day. So sad. I don't want to call it an interview. I'm just basically talking to people. I don't want to call it an interview. It sounds scary. Let's see if anyone asked Kat any questions before she gets here. Pretty stoked. Hopefully this is gonna work out, and I have a nice little mini intro to tell you about Kat. She's worked with a lot of bands. I don't want to name all, like, I'll surely either forget or add a band in there that she hasn't worked with just because it's so many, but I met her through Aqueous and I love the crap out of her, and we're going to see what she has to say about life in 2020. I'm saying if we have any questions, I posted on Instagram. No one's probably going to see it in time, but we'll see. I said, ask questions and I'll try and ask her. I did that like 5 minutes ago. So here we are. I'm going to continue recording because I'm really, like, I don't want to lose a meeting again because that was really sad. I mean, I'm stoked because I just get to talk to Ashley again, but still good content that's just gone. So here we are. Please be patient with me. Check out my tribute mug. It needs more work, but unfreezes on everything I own. Like, you're not gonna get away from it, right? But like, in yellow, a great salmon famine, my homies. I always forget the number, 5,000 watts, 1,000 watts. Can't remember, but this dude sadly passed away. He was a guitar player. He passed away, and he was a summer camp friend, so I grabbed some of those. Jude the dude, my son, Miranda made him some stickers personally for him. Amorphic, the homies. Just so you know, you need that information. Kat has entered, so I'm going to allow her in now, and I'll stop being a weirdo and see what she's got to say. Hello? Hello?
Okay, this always happens to me, and I've got to figure out how to turn myself right side up.
I've been just like recording myself talking to myself for the last 5 minutes because I always have technical difficulties. So it's like I'd rather just be on and have it ready and recording than because I lost Ashley Driscoll and I met like 2 weeks ago, and it's just gone. So
no.
Oh yeah. So can you record on your end too? Is that a possibility? Are you on?
I'm on my phone.
Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
We'll just cross our fingers.
Okay. Cool. If nothing else, it'll be like a fun conversation.
Exactly. Well, that's why I'm like, I would say I'm sad that I lost the content, but it just means I'm going to talk to Ashley again here.
Yeah. And of course, I'm over here like primping, dude. That was like it didn't dawn on me. It didn't dawn on me until I looked at the link and I was like, it's a Zoom link. I'm like, oh my God. Like, is this gonna be video? I'm like, I have no makeup on. I've been studying all morning. And it's like quick, like 10-minute. It's all those years. Well, it was all those years of watching America's Next Top Model when they would do like those like quick makeup challenges. And I was always convinced I was going to be in a situation to need to have that skill.
And there you are.
So, and there I am. Yeah.
It's so good to see you. Holy crap.
You too.
It's been a year, like a whole year.
Yeah, it has. Because the last time we saw each other would have been the Denver Aqueous shows.
Yeah,
correct?
Kings for a Day. I believe that. Yeah, and that was sick. But I just now got pictures printed from that. I'm awesome.
Oh wow.
So fun. Yeah. But that was so much fun. Okay, so when I was doing the intro, I was kind of like, okay, well, I know Kat has worked with like a ton of bands at this point, right? Like it went
a few.
Know you through Aqueous, right? So inform our 4 listeners. Who else do you work with?
So currently, or do you want me to go like current or just like the history?
Like wherever you want to start.
Okay, so I guess, let's start from the beginning. Like my first, so I was in, bands growing up and kind of did like different things in that regard, like, our own booking and our own management, all of that. And then when I kind of in college started interning in radio. And my dad was an old school radio guy, so I was always obsessed with radio growing up, and got an internship in college. And so out of college, worked in alternative rock radio in like the heyday of alternative rock radio, in my opinion, which was like 95 when I started as an intern. And then I left working radio in general in 2004. So I did that about a decade and sort of took a break. Started doing retail, a lot of like restaurant management, and then moved to Buffalo in 2011 and started dating my now husband, David. Yeah, Birdsey. And he was just really big into the jam scene, specifically Fish and Grateful Dead. So I kind of like, okay, this is always fun to tell people. I had been like a studio Fish listener. Like, who does that? But I did.
I really
and I had discovered Fish in like 94 through a dance instructor, but always listened to Fish studio. And friends of mine in college were always like, and this is like the mid 90s, late 90s, like, come to Fish, come to Fish, come to Fish. And I'm like, I don't want to hear a band play a 25-minute song. And now I like listen to 90s Fish and I'm like, why didn't I go?
I miss out so much.
So much. Same thing with like the Grateful Dead. Like when I was in college, my sister, who's 18 years older than me, she's a big Deadhead. Her and her husband used to like jump on tour and follow the band. They were always trying to get me to go to shows. And now I like kick myself because I'm like, I could have seen like late 90s Jerry or mid 90s. Yeah. But I'm like, oh, like so upset.
Right.
But so long story, really long. David and I started dating, and he, was sort of like, was listening to all this different stuff, and he was listening to a lot of Fish, and I was like, okay, well, like I can dig this. Like I've listened to it. I can dig it. And we started going to a lot of shows together. Like the first one for me where it really, really clicked, where I was like, okay, I think I'm really digging this, was STS-9. Nice. And that was like 2011, maybe early 2012. And then we were listening to Last FM, which no longer exists. and like the world collided and I heard Twiddle for the first time. And that was really like the game changer for me. Yeah. And so from listening to Twiddle, we started like, I started listening to Twiddle. He took me to my first like camping festival. I'd always done like day-long festivals, like, like Lollapalooza back in the day, like Lilith Fair, radio station festivals, but had never done a camping festival. First festival we went to was All Good, 2013. That ended up that summer. Then I went to my first ever Night Lights.
Ooh.
So that was like really important for me, because that first ever Night Lights was the first time I heard Jim Cotta and saw them live. I mean, I'd heard them before, but I had never seen them live. It was the second time I'd ever seen Aqueous live. I'd seen him that same summer opening for Lotus.
In 2013?
In 2013, yeah. And then I kind of just, I was obsessed with Night Lights. I loved it. And I wanted to work for the festival. Like instantly I was just like, I have to be a part of this scene. I have to be a part of this community. Yeah. It was magnetic for me. And I reached out to the Night Lights team, and they liked what I had put together as far as like coordinating their street team. Cause the trick for me was I wanted to volunteer, but I didn't want to work the weekend of. Yeah. I wanted to like be able to enjoy all the fun. And literally from there, that's where it snowballed. I started working for Night Lights. I then reached out to Twiddle, and this was like early 2014, or no, sorry, mid 2000. Sorry, hold on. I'm trying to, no, this would have been like 2000. Sorry, hold on. I'm trying to get my time frames here. It all starts running together.
No, I get that.
Yeah, I had been listening to Twiddle for a couple of years at this point, and it was like early 2015. I finally reached out to their management team and said, hey, I've been doing this for this festival, and I'd like to do it for you guys. And Kevin Rondo, who was their manager at the time, was like, so you want to run our street team and pretty much do it for merch and tickets? And I was like, okay, I'll do that. Because for me, it was just super important to work with that band. And it was right when Twiddle was on the up.
Right.
And then I started working with Twiddle. And then from there, that just like, it was literally like one thing after another, after another, after another. So bands I have worked for throughout the duration of my time in the jam scene: Aqueous, Twiddle, Pigeons Playing Ping Pong, Kitchen Dwellers, Big Something, who I'm actually still currently working for.
Nice.
I did some like some of the like reggae guys. Like I worked with Bumpin' Uglies and Tropidelic and Roots of Creation.
Brad, you're all over the place.
Yeah, all over the place. Festival wise, I've worked for goodness. Well, obviously Nightlights, Cobblestone Live.
Oh, that one's cool.
Oh shoot, I'm like forgetting stuff. Like I don't want to sit here and like name drop, like just like rattle it off like it's a rap.
It's awesome. It's so cool. Like I would listen to you all day because it's rad.
Yeah, but and I also got to do a lot of really cool things. Like especially with my time with Twiddle, I got to say that I've like run point on like organic street team promotion for several shows at Red Rocks, which is really great.
That's so cool.
I got to do some work with like Phil Lesh and the Terrapin Family Band because Twiddle opened for them. I got to help promote that show.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And sort of at the tail end of everything, I was right before COVID happened. I was moving away from the street team stuff because what I really found I have a great passion for is I love being on the road.
Yeah.
And I love that like merch coordination, VIP event coordination. And I also love doing some tour management. I've been dabbling a little bit in tour management with some like local bands.
Yeah.
Which was kind of where I was hoping to go, or getting on a big bus tour, which was, I was hoping was going to happen this summer, but alas, it didn't. And when we concluded all of live music as we know it, I was on the road with Dopapod.
Yeah.
So
like that.
Yeah.
That was a big moment for them too, right? Like that
was kind of like,
it's been like a year.
Yeah, they had done a hiatus. They'd come back for those Capitol Theater shows in April, and then it was maybe about like a year after that, and this was kind of like, it was like a weekend tour, so it wasn't like a full-on tour, but it was, like 6 weeks of tour dates.
Yeah.
And also, too, for me, what I was super excited about was the opportunity to get to work with Luke Stratton. And Luke Stratton is their lighting director, but, he's been with the band since they all started at Berkeley together. And he's now the lighting director for Smashing Pumpkins. And he was going to be the lighting director this year for Primus. So I was so stoked to work with him because I was like, let me show off my skills and maybe like, I can help you. His connections. This will be
my big bus gig.
Yeah, exactly. Because I had done like one bus tour in like the 90s. Yeah. Doing merchandise stuff with a band that I don't ever want to admit that I've ever toured with.
No,
well, let's just say they didn't have arms wide open for me. So,
do you know what I was for Halloween this year?
What?
I was Assassin's Creed, like the video game, but I had his face printed out under a hood.
Oh Lord. Yeah, you know what?
That's amazing.
Okay. Sorry. Hold on one second. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing in a minute and you're going to laugh. Hold on. Oh goodness. Okay, so I've become obsessed with magnetic eyelashes because I can never do
love those. I love magnetic.
Yeah. I can never do the regular ones, but I just felt it starting to I did my makeup so fast. I was like, this is wobbling, and nobody's gonna be able to see it, but I can feel it.
Oh no, it's so annoying. Like it's seriously a godsend though. Like you don't have to do anything. It's so easy to put those things on.
but then you get the wobble, and it's like, oh God, it's all flapping, isn't it? And it's not.
I'm taking you to the mirror with me as I figure this out.
That feels very,
perfect.
like perfect, because the bathroom selfies I miss. So like, it's
I know.
Reminiscent of that. Because
Yeah.
I was just thinking today we didn't get that King for a Day show. Was that the Gothic Theater, right? It was at some spot I'd never been before, so that's the only reason it was the Gothic. But it was beautiful.
I don't
it
remember.
Had, like,
is that
really
terrible?
pretty. No, they all blend together. I just remember this one because it was really pretty. Like the bathroom was pretty, and I remember saying, like, I wanted to get a bathroom selfie of all of us, like we did in Winter Park, and it didn't work.
The good old bathroom selfies.
I must have been thinking about it because I was like 8 months pregnant in the bathroom a lot.
Yeah, I loved though that when you shared your post the other day on Instagram, that's the photo you went with, because I was like, that is like amazing. Like I love that photo so much, because I think in all honesty that might have been the first time I ever like did a bathroom selfie photo with like fans in it. That might have been like the first one.
Usually do just you, I think, right? And then
sometimes the bands that I'm playing with, like, should I explain this a little bit, like what we're even talking about? So this whole thing started as a joke. My oldest daughter, who is now 21, like this was probably like 3 or 4 years ago. I was kind of making fun of her a little bit, like just a tad, and like doing like this crazy bathroom selfie, but had like my face blocked out. And so then I just started doing like random bathroom selfies like everywhere I'd go. And something about we were doing tour rehearsal at the town ballroom before my first Aqueous gig. And I was just like, I think it'd be funny just to do like a pre-show bathroom selfie and try to be like super like tongue in cheek with it and like be funny and creative. And so I started doing them before every show. So it was either in the bathroom or in the green room. And so that's what it was. So it was kind of like the way I documented the shows on my Instagram was whatever bathroom I was in before the show.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Oh man, the bathroom. I'm just miss gatherings in general. Okay, so you got to, like, you were doing that in 2020. You were on tour, or you were working with Dopapod, and so then now what are you doing?
Oh well, so let's talk about this 180. So I kind of took, so for me, when I saw all this happening, I secretly, there's 2 things I have like a secret passion for. One is true crime, specifically like murders. And the second is like plagues and pandemics. So for me, kind of living through an actual pandemic is kind of like a weird dream come true in like a weird way. But because I had a little bit of information in my back pocket already, knowing about like how the Spanish flu of 1918 went down, and how like life existed after that, I just kind of looked at it and I said to myself, we're not coming back to live music. Maybe this coming up summer, maybe 1921. But by the way that I see people, what people do and don't do, I don't think we're going to have full on like large touring arena tours or large scale venue tours until 1922, or 2022, 1922. We're going to travel back in time. So I think we've got a little while yet still. And also, like, while I feel super young and I don't ever feel like I act my age, I am 45.
Right, and it's incredible. Like, I have a 21-year-old daughter. I'm like,
mind blowing. It blows my mind sometimes. And I said to myself, like, I want to have like a backup plan, because that was the sort of like realization, and it wasn't anybody's fault. Like, I can't fault the bands that I work for, but I was literally the first person everybody let go. Because what do you need me for at this point? I mean, like I said, Big Something is the only band I'm still technically working with, because like they actually kind of like, we sort of like swatted the game there and looking at building like online stuff a little bit. So they've been utilizing me for that. But like, a lot of bands just don't have that luxury. And so being on the road, I had realized how unhealthy it is.
Oh yeah.
And I had like put on a lot of weight. I wasn't sleeping well.
I didn't notice that, but it is super unhealthy.
Yeah. And I had sort of like fallen into a really, really, really terrible depression in 2019. And I finally started like doing something about it. I stopped smoking a lot of weed because for me, the THC was just like, it was like this vicious cycle where when I would smoke, I wouldn't do anything. And then I wouldn't do anything. So then I was sad and depressed because I wasn't doing anything except sitting around and eating all day. And then I was packing on weight. And then I was sad and depressed because I was packing on weight. So it was like, once I cut out the THC and like really started paying attention to what I was eating, like not doing sugar, just drinking water, the weight just started shedding. It just started coming off. And I dropped like 30 pounds by April. So I was feeling great and I wanted to know more. I wanted to know how it worked and in all of it. So I applied to go back to school. I already have a degree, but I was like, let's do another one.
Why not?
And I am doing a double major in dietetics and nutrition with like that second major in writing. Cause I want to do like grant writing and technical writing alongside of it. And hoping, fingers crossed, I think I want to get my PhD in nutrition.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because I just want people to have to call me Dr. Kat.
I will not go by Dr. Horton. It is Dr. Kat.
Yeah, it's Dr. Kat. But I'm hoping that what I can actually do with it long term is I'd really like to work with entertainers or musicians or even athletes, because I'm a former athlete, who either struggle with positive eating habits. But also I've really been thinking about wanting to work in a clinical setting, working with patients, athletes, entertainers who struggle with eating disorders.
Yeah.
And really helping them get to a healthy point in their life where they're making right, smart decisions and using a lot of like mindfulness therapy and those sort of practices too.
That's
so we'll see.
My mind took it in a different direction. I felt like maybe we even had a conversation about this or something at some point, because I'm like, oh, a nutritionist, and it is really unhealthy on tour. Like maybe we set up this business where we have healthy, like fast, healthy stuff already set up for people. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean,
care of people on the road kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm hoping that maybe out there on some big bus tour, somebody will want to hire like a full-time like nutritionist. Yeah. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but
I don't see
you never know. Yeah,
I don't see why not. They're the kind of people that have the money and like
exactly.
Yeah. Can the baby come say hi? He's like,
yes, the baby can come say hi. I'm honestly, I had to lock my door so the cat wouldn't come in.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and he didn't sleep last night, and then I skipped his nap this morning. I told you, so that he would sleep through it, and apparently he is not. You say hi. You say hi to Kat. So you can get in this dude, my 12-year-old, and he's gonna fix it, huh?
I remember when you were in the belly.
Right? Isn't that so weird?
Should put him back in bed.
I mean, you're a mom, you of course.
Yeah,
put him back in. He needs to sleep.
I'm sorry, but you gotta go back in bed.
Goodbye. I'll be up there. Oh goodness.
Oh.
Bye. Careful.
Choking me.
It's good there.
When you go back and watch this, I know I just had like the biggest pouty face when I saw him. He's so adorable. It's so cute. So cute.
Thanks. He's a hot mess right now. He's getting 4 teeth in on time. Oh. That's why he refuses to sleep. He didn't sleep last night at all. And I'm like, you're going to take this big, like 2 or 3 hour nap in the afternoon because you skipped your morning nap? No. Been like 40 minutes.
I've heard that like the reason, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard, this is what they say, that the reason that you don't remember being a toddler is that it's so traumatic between like your teeth coming in and like not being able to do anything for yourself.
Yeah.
That's literally why your brain function doesn't start to form memories until you're actually old enough to like not be traumatized by them.
Yeah. That makes total sense. I literally said that to him today. I was like, it's really good you won't remember any of this. Because it is just that. Like, it's gotta be painful. And like, you imagine it's so much more slobber. It's probably because there's like blood involved too. And that way it kind of washes out really fast. I don't know. Maybe there's not blood. But like teeth poking through gums, you would think there's like, but if nothing else is more comforting. But it's a lot of slobber and a lot of no sleep. But they're like really coming through now. You know what I mean? Like you can see them for a while where they're like me through. It's gnarly. But what were we talking about? Because now I'm all distracted.
we were kind of talking about like, so what path I'm on now.
Oh
so going back to
that's
school.
Super cool. Nutritionist, that's rad. That's like, I mean, I'm super into that stuff. We did a vegan thing for a year, like 2013 or something, because we were feeling the same way. We live in the Midwest originally, Indiana. So people drink a lot there, and the winters are hard, like I imagine they are where you're at. And you know, you just get really unhealthy really fast if you lose track at all, you know. And so you're just like, okay, we need to like totally revive. And I don't think that it's healthy for me to be vegan personally. Like, it's always hard for me to stay on the like healthier side, because I'm usually just going and forget. Like, I will literally graze all day and then eat dinner.
Super hard to be vegan and to do it and get to a point where you enjoy it. Like, it's a lot of work.
Well, and to be healthy, you know, like you're not, if you don't do it the right way, you're missing a ton of nutrients, and you're not like, it's not helping you at that point. You know what I mean?
And what a lot of people will tend to do, especially vegan, especially a lot of vegetarians do this, but I think a lot of vegans do this as well. You turn to processed options.
Oh yeah. I do all the time still, and I'm like, my husband's always like, no, this is just as bad. I'm like, I know, but at least the thought of killing a cow didn't cross my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's still junk food, but what do you do? But no, you're so right. It's like, you think you're gonna fill in the gaps with that stuff, but it's highly processed, like junk still. You know? It is hard. I don't know. I haven't figured out what the right balance is, really. Hopefully you can tell me something.
As soon as I figure it out, this is my first semester. Okay. I have a lot of people who have said that, and I think at some point I'm probably going to need some people to work with. So
I'm down.
I'll reach out for sure.
I'm always down to experiment too when it comes to the body. Like, I think that's why even yoga, you just note it. And I haven't done yoga in so long. I'm so bad. But
I need to do. It's amazing the difference it makes.
It really is. And I have back problems, so it's just like the only thing that works is stretching out a lot, and it works really well when I do it a lot, but I don't do it enough. And then
I know,
like, I can feel it. I can feel where I need to stretch right now. You know?
I even
like experimenting with your body to see what makes you feel better, because isn't that what it's about? Feeling your body.
Yes, absolutely. Find what feels good.
Yeah, exactly. And then
the immortal words of Yoga with Adrian on YouTube. If anybody's looking for a yoga option, Yoga with Adrian. Yeah, Yoga with Adrian. She's absolutely amazing. It's like doing yoga with like the chick that I might bum weed off of at a music festival.
I love that.
That's how I feel about it. It's like she's like my weird best friend I haven't met yet.
I love that.
Yeah,
I was doing one, and it was Bad Yogi. Her name's Erin Motz, but she called her channel is Bad Yogi, and it's because of kind of the same thing. Like, there can be this like really stuffy group of people who are yogis, you know, that are like, don't do this to your body, don't do, you know, like, you like shame you almost, right? Like the holier than thou, you know, end of the spectrum. And then there's this other end where it's like me, and I'm like, I kind of a yogi sometimes.
It's like, I just ate half a coconut cream pie, and now I'm going to do yoga to make myself feel better about it. Don't judge me.
Exactly. And so she calls herself Bad Yogi, because she's like, I don't think we should be judging. We should be encouraging people to practice no matter what the rest of their life looks like. It's good for people to stretch, you know?
Yeah.
But Yoga with Adrian, is that what
Yoga with Adrian? Yeah. Okay. And her motto is find what feels good. And that's literally how I've been living my life since the pandemic started. Like, just doing what feels right.
That's
doing what feels right.
Life. I wish more people would get into that mindset, because I think that's why people are just kind of. I feel like, especially at this year particularly, people either like really found their groove with like who they are as a person, or like it's been like that whole like ego shattering, like I'm not even allowed to do what I do. Like I can't, you know what I mean? Like, which I relate to that totally. Like normally I go see very large groups of people, you know, at least one day a weekend at least, usually, right? I seek that out. But now that we don't have that as an option, it's been really cool to like, you know, do some self-discovery. Yes. You had time for that before.
Well, and you know, and it's such a tough place for me to be in, because I feel for all of like the musician friends and all the like artists and people who rely on the touring music industry to have their income.
Absolutely.
And it's not even just the artists. I mean, it's everybody from like booking agents to marketing teams to venue staff to bartenders. Like I totally get it. So I say what I'm about to say with like a complete air of caution, but when this happened, I had literally secretly, because of the depression that I had been struggling in for so long, had been sort of secretly wanting a hard reset. And so when this opportunity was presented to me, I just looked at it as a gift. And I said, I can either rise above it and come out of this ahead and come out of it better, or I can just let it crack me. And so it was been so important for me to find that groove. And for me, it's really been everything from like, my sense of style. I've gotten way back in, like, I love the jam scene, but I was like, I'm not a hippie girl. And I had sort of fallen into this like fashion style that was really like hippie based, where I was like, no, I'm like a rocker chick.
I'm
grunge. I'm 90s to the core. So to be able to sort of like get back into that, and you know, like, because like salons weren't open, like I had the break on my hair for a while, and so now it's long, and
it looks great.
Thank you. I'm actually due for a color. We just had everything shut back down in New York because our cases, you know, went back up, and so I was like just getting ready to go into the salon to like get my color redone. But I've been like, a friend of mine just he's a tattoo apprentice now, and he does incredible artwork.
Nice.
Keith Bykowski, who is the guy who did, you remember the Aqueous Superheroes?
Oh
yeah, so he's a tattoo artist now. And so he does like, I've been going and getting like a lot of ink done, and just sort of like rediscovering music. Music that I have I can't wait to see what my 2020 year in review comes out with, because I already know what it's going to be, but it's so exactly opposite of what you would have thought I would have been listening to all year long. That's been great. It's been awesome.
It's so cool. I love hearing that, because I wish that for more people, you know, like, it sucks, and yes, we have to adapt, but like, this is such a good opportunity to just take a breath, you know. I feel like I know of so many people dear to me that just don't like even inhale all the way ever, you know what I mean? Like never fully let go of any of the stress of day to day,
right?
You know?
And now
slow down.
Now what we're seeing too, I think, in that same regard, is like one of the things that I did, like, so right around the time of oh shoot, I'm blanking on the gentleman's name, which I really Lloyd. Shit, why am I blanking on it? And I feel really bad. It was like kind of like that first sort of, hold on.
I'm trying to think.
Is it George Floyd? Is that who I'm thinking of?
George Floyd. Oh yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So right around the time of that sort of happening, I found myself starting to get into this like space on like social media that was so negative, where I was arguing with people who you can't reason with, and I finally just got to a point where I was like, I've got to handle all of this in my own way. And I took Facebook off my phone. And it was the best thing I've ever done. And I feel like so many people went the opposite route, and you start to see like people like kind of like going down that really unhealthy mental health path because of all of that negative engagement.
Right.
So I do like, and there's still time, because we're not out of this yet.
Oh, no.
So I really encourage anybody out there, like if you feel like you're just not riding the wave of this well, take social media off your phone, find some hobbies and habits and things that you really want to do. Find one friend.
Right. Anything you've never done before, right? Because I think people just like get themselves into these habits, and then all of a sudden there's like, oh shit, I guess Netflix again. I guess Netflix. You know what I mean? It's like, no, dude, like just do anything that's new. Anything that's new. Even a board game. You know what I mean? Like
I've been learning to play chess.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So yeah, like it's great.
That's
I love it. I'm obsessed already.
I've been needle felting. Okay, look at this thing. I never heard of it before, right? I never heard of it before, and now look at what I made. It's a little fuzzy guy, right?
That is amazing.
And it's just stabbing wool over and over again to make a shape. And I've never seen it before in my life. And then I was like, that looks like really, like it could be fun.
Have you ever seen diamond painting?
Ooh, no.
So diamond painting is a lot like color by numbers.
Okay.
But you're like my friend Kayla bought me a diamond painting kit because I had surgery in January and like couldn't do anything for like the whole month of January.
Right.
And most of February. And so this was I jokingly call it putting things on things, but you've got like all these different colored like diamonds or beads, and you're just the backing is like a canvas, and it's got glue on it, and then you just match the color to where you're supposed to, and it's super tedious and methodical. But I have this weird obsession with like sorting and organizing things like that. So I'm like, that was another thing I started doing during the pandemic. That's been great.
You can use that skill. I've been on like crafting pages on Facebook back when I don't have it on my phone either anymore. It got really bad month before the election. I was like, what am I doing? Why am I here?
Yep.
You know, so it's gone off mine too. I'm like, I'll use it for work. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But anyway, I saw on one of the crafting pages that you can take literally mug like this, bedazzle it with your, so like say if you could get the image you're going for on the mug, right? So there was this lady did a Lion King one. It was like Timon and Pumbaa or some shit, but it bedazzled. She sold it for like $2,000. I'm not exaggerating. I'm like,
I'm in the wrong business.
Who in their right mind? But it's like the people with the money, you know, the same people who are going to hire a nutritionist for their tours
exactly.
if they can, you know, like, isn't that bonkers? But you can use your hobby.
You never know. You never know. I've been doing a lot of like Etsy, like I've traded off like the bad food habit for a bad online shopping habit. I know that there's a lot of people out there who don't like Amazon, but my God, you know, it's like if I want to find a purple sparkly fish soap dish,
right,
I can go onto Amazon and find whatever it is I'm looking for. That's been bad, but also Etsy. Like I've really been, and you know, Etsy and then band merch for me. So that was one of the things too that like, so I got really lucky on the other side of all of this, and that one of my music industry connections here in Buffalo actually hooked me up with somebody who was working for a temp agency. Right. And they were looking to staff a COVID testing site. So that's my like day job now on the weekends.
Funny, but if you're going into the health sector, like that's cool little side gig.
So I've been able to do that, and because of the type of work it is, you know, there is some hazard pay involved. So I've been able to have a little bit of extra disposable income during all of this. And so one of the commitments that I made was every paycheck I spend 10% on band merch.
I love
whatever it is, like, and it was just sort of my way to kind of like give back, because and I know that artists are struggling, and I have that little bit of income. And that's been nice too, that I've been trying to do it not only for band merch, but also every once in a while some like fan art type merch. I
try to support my artist friends too, you know. It's either bands or artists at this point. I'm like, Amazon gets a lot of my money, I'm not gonna lie. It comes to my door. I have a baby that I don't take out into the freaking pandemic world. You know, like, it's just weird to take him places, you know what I mean?
You don't even have to have a baby to not want to do that. Like, I don't want to go out and like a great case in point, like I needed to go get acetone the other day because
Yeah.
I broke down and I got the gel nail set because I actually one things I do for self-care is I usually go to the nail salon to get my mani-pedis done.
Yeah.
And so I bought the UV gel cure light, I bought all my polishes, I bought everything, and then realized I didn't have acetone. And I wanted to do my nails the other night. And literally, like, we're in Erie County here in like Western New York. We're at like something like not our 7 rolling day average is like 9% on cases.
Right.
And I'm in this like this like beauty supply store, and the woman behind me doesn't have a mask on. I could feel her breath behind me. And I'm like, this is why I shop on Amazon.
Yeah,
like
why
I want to support local businesses, but I don't want to get COVID.
No, and like, really, are you supporting a local business by asking? No, like you can only buy that big box anyway. So like, what's the difference between going to Target or buying it off of Amazon? You know what I mean? Target doesn't pay taxes either.
Yeah, such a good point.
It's just some shit you can't get around. You do the best you can, right?
Yeah,
it's true. It's people crucifying each other.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, give them the benefit of the doubt. You know? But not that lady breathing down your neck.
No,
pandemic.
I did actually scare her. This might have been a little bit of a bitch move, but every once in a while, like I just want people to have a bit of a reality check. Yeah. And I turned around and I looked at her and I said, just so you know, you're standing kind of close to me, and I just got done working a shift at a COVID testing site. Yeah. So you might want to take a few inches, step back a few inches. And the look on her face and shock and the way she instantly jumped back. But like, that's the thing, like you got to realize, like, you don't know who you're around out there right now. Exactly. And like, and not only from a standpoint of you don't know who might have it, but you don't know who's asymptomatic. You don't know who's at risk.
Right. You don't know if you have it, you're asymptomatic and you're too close to someone, Like, come on, people. I mean, not you, like, that lady, like she didn't even have the wherewithal until it was going to affect her. You know what I mean?
And I know a lot of people, I don't want to get too much on this pandemic subject, but I know a lot of people who work in either like nursing or work in like healthcare, home healthcare, nursing homes. Mm-hmm. And by regulation, they all have to get tested multiple times within a week. And I know people who have tested positive, and the only reason they even knew they were testing positive was because of the fact that they had to have that test. Yeah. Had no idea. So take care out there, people. Wear the damn mask, stay 6 feet apart, just stay at home, ride it out.
Can you imagine getting that test multiple times a week?
Oh, I have to for work.
You do?
Yeah.
They jam that thing in your face multiple times a week.
Okay, it's up your nose. And come on, let's be honest. Okay, look. I don't want to say too much, but let's be honest. There's enough. I hear people, my music industry friends all the time, that complain about having to have a Q-tip up the nose. And I'm like, look, I've seen you on a freaking Saturday night after a show ends. I know what you do. Don't complain about a clean Q-tip up your nose. Come on now.
Can you tell I'm not one of those people? Because I'm like, no.
I mean, honestly, neither am I. So the way that I describe it to people too, when people have asked me, like, when you go swimming and you get water up your nose and it like burns for a hot second, that's what it feels like.
And I fucking hate that shit.
Yeah.
I hate it so much. Like, I don't know what it is. It's probably because you feel like you're gonna drown or something.
Well, because maybe it's because you're not supposed to be sticking stuff up there. Like it is unnatural.
It's a common reaction. I know my friends said that they had to like hold their head because people go back.
Yeah, we'll go back.
Because it's just a normal reaction. Like, hold on, you're going too far.
It's like, that's not supposed to be there.
Oh my gosh, I could go on. Yes. I almost took it to like my son's eye doctor appointment because that shit was traumatic.
Oh Lord.
The human body is weird.
It is. And I'm learning that. I'm discovering
There's so many cavities and orifices. Like, oh man, that's so funny. Okay, good so Lord. How? I don't know. I don't want to hold up your whole day. I don't know what time it is. I can talk to you forever.
I got nothing going on.
That's why I'm like, at least everyone shut down. Now I could book a bunch of conversations.
Right?
It's so weird because I don't ever go out. So everyone's like, oh, it's red again. I'm like, oh.
Okay, sweet. Nothing's changed for me. Still staying at home.
Order my shit off Amazon like I always do. I don't know. It's weird. I need to go out because I need a formula. That's the one thing. I'm like, damn, like I really do need to. I mean, Amazon probably has that. I don't know if it's that fast though. You know what I mean? Yeah. Should stock up, and that way I don't have to think about it.
Can you Instacart formula?
You can. It's just like $9 extra. Like formula's expensive. Like,
yeah. Oh, I know. I remember.
We had them on the good stuff for like 8 months, and then I was like, okay, you're eating outside food other than milk, so you can have different milk too. Like I'm not buying the $35 container anymore. I'm going to switch to the $20 container. Sorry. And it's fine. Of course, you know, that's how they get you. But what were you gonna say?
No, I'm sorry. I don't know if the screen goes black. Like David keeps trying to call me, and I'm just like, "Will you stop calling me? I'll answer you. There's a reason I keep declining your calls, buddy. I'm busy over here. I'll get to it in a minute."
I'll like hit him up on Instagram and be like, "Is he on Instagram? I can't remember."
No, he's on He's on Facebook.
I was gonna say he's on some social media.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that right now while we're talking. This is also the other reason why I've got like the laptop over here.
Yeah, I mean. It's annoying having to connect with people through technology because of things like that, but it's also awesome that we can just sit here and at least catch up, you know, and it's kind of normal-ish. Yeah, we're not in person, but it feels pretty solid.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm responding to him. I'm recording a podcast, remember?
Hi, Birdsy. This is for future us. Yeah. Hi, Birdsy. Good job.
Yeah. And actually, I just told him I'm recording a podcast, so.
Perfect.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about, so the thing about the pandemic for me is I've become obsessed with a few things.
Yes.
My cat. I mean, I was obsessed with my cat before.
Sure.
But I'm totally obsessed with my cat now. She's amazing. That's been great.
There to watch her like mannerisms and her habits all day. You know what I mean? I feel like you get in a deeper connection when
I have not had a cat in my life in like a decade, and now having a cat again, I'm like, I remember why I need to have a cat. It reminds me to just chill out, calm down,
do whatever
lay around,
you want.
Let other people pamper me, and I'll maybe give you some affection when I want.
Yeah, when I feel like
it. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. I've never had a cat. My parents weren't pet people, really.
Yeah.
I got a rabbit as a gift one time from one of my aunts, and my mom paid her back and got my cousin a parakeet or something. No, a cockatiel.
That's like a bird is a lifelong commitment. Those things will outlive everybody. Oh, yes.
Funny is they're at least quiet. I mean, they stink a little bit sometimes, but they're quiet. The bird, though. You gotta like cover the cage at night and stuff if you want.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never had a bird. Well, that's a lot. I have chickens now, but they live outside.
Oh, you have chickens?
I have 9 chickens.
That's crazy. You know who I buy?
That was a COVID thing too. We started with 2. And then
2
COVID
chickens?
happened. Yeah, COVID happened. We got 7 in the last year.
Yeah. So now, you know, like going back to the music thing, you know who also tends to chickens from time to time, and I buy eggs from him. Not recently, but I used to all the time.
Who?
Evan McFadden.
Oh, good for him. Good for him. We should do a group call sometime. I was thinking that because they called me one time I think it was this summer, because I was like going through real withdrawals, you know, like first I called him summer camp weekend. I called Evan and he answered. I called him on Facebook. Like I don't have people's numbers, right? I just called him on Facebook and he actually answered, and it was me and Lauren sitting outside, and fucking her boyfriend told my son to put a chicken on her head while we were talking. She did. I mean, he did, and she was so mad and embarrassed, and I felt terrible. But then, like later so then I called Mike when we were at Beanstalk, because I was like, "We miss you guys at Beanstalk."
It's awesome.
And I had missed Dave, and then I accidentally didn't call Rob because I don't know him that well, and then he was all He was mad at me because
Oh.
the group called me. They were doing a conference call and they were like, we saw you called and we thought we would loop you into this one. I'm like, that's so awesome. That's so
great.
cool. Like,
Yeah.
how nice of them, though. Seriously, they did not have to do that. They're so kind. Are they that kind? Is it a facade? No.
No. They're all so great. I wouldn't tell you if they were. I would totally lie if they were all horrible, terrible people. But no, they're fantastic. And like for me, like it was kind of nice. I hadn't seen anybody in so long, and then we had Evan's wedding. And so like we got to, it was, a really small gathering, but we got to see like that whole like aqueous crew, which was really nice. And unfortunately I didn't get to do any of the drive-in shows. The first two, I just didn't, I would like, everything was new with like me at work. Yeah. And I just didn't want to take the risk of like being around everybody because I still like, it was like, yeah. And then with the last drive-in show, I had already made the decision. Twiddle did a show, and I'd already made a decision to go to that. Right. And then Aqueous announced later, and I was just like, oh. And that was the one super bummed because that was the one where they did the Talking Heads set, and I'm a huge Talking Heads fan, and I really would have liked to have seen that.
Why don't I live in Buffalo? It's because of the winters. That's why. Yeah. That's why. But I want to live in Buffalo, but I couldn't. I would have to be a half year kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm starting to think about that.
In that winter, dude. Like out here, the winter is so much. Like even if it's 50, it's like the sun's out, feels glorious. In Indiana, all winter, like right now, I'm betting it's like 45 and just gray, and like everything just looks so sad all the time.
If you were to see what it looked like outside, it's
probably the same one. Yeah. And it's sad. It hurts my body though too. Like that humidity during the cold. Yeah. It like, cause I have back problems, I think. It like, I tense up and then like everything hurts all the time. Like I can't, but I want to live in Buffalo because of the music. Because you guys have Mo too, right? Mo's on the East Coast.
I mean, Mo is originally from here. Like they went to school in this area, and I mean, some of them still live out this way.
Right.
But we get some decent Mo shows out here.
But I've never been. It's like a cluster. Yeah. Isn't it? Like you can do so many things.
And
like,
while a lot of people don't necessarily always come to Buffalo, we're 3.5 hours from Pittsburgh. We're 3.5 hours from Cleveland.
Yeah.
Burlington is a bit of a hike. That's like a 7-hour drive, but still you can do that. The city is 7 hours. So it's not too bad.
That's not bad. Like if I live in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
If I want to go anywhere, other than even Denver is like 2 hours because traffic is so bad on 25. But like anywhere else, if I want to go anywhere else, it's at least 8 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where are you going? Cheyenne? Are there a lot of shows in Cheyenne? Because that's like 2 hours away from an hour and a half away.
Cheyenne, Wyoming?
Yeah.
Wow, you're that close to Wyoming?
Yeah.
Geez, that's interesting to me because I'm like, it's so funny because like when you're on the road and you're driving from place to place, you sort of like fall asleep in one place and you wake up somewhere else. And like, you don't really necessarily get the best like spatial relation of exactly where you are all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like I know I've driven through Idaho, I think, but like I don't really remember it. Or it's like I was like, well, I did. And now that you're talking about that, I was like, did we drive through Wyoming? Like, would we have gone through Wyoming? Like, would that have been like a thing?
If you were driving to Idaho, I mean, I would think because so coming from the East Coast, you would do 80, which is what I always do. Like, so I'm from Northwest Indiana, so the Chicago area. So I literally just like bop on 80 right here. It's like 45 minutes away from my house, and it takes me like almost to my backyard in Indiana where I grew up. So like it's like 2 turns, you know what I mean, to get from Colorado, like Fort Collins to Munster, where I'm from. Like the house I'm from, it's like 2 or 3 turns. It's ridiculous. But so you would take 80, I think, through Wyoming, and then, oh my gosh, I'm so bad. Montana, maybe.
See, I'm looking at this and what I can't remember yet, because I'm now looking at the U.S. map trying to like remember it, and I'm like, because I feel like we would have done Colorado, and then I don't think we didn't do any like Utah, Nevada shows. So I'm pretty sure I think we went Colorado and then like kind of cut through like maybe it was Wyoming, maybe it was Utah into Idaho and then up to like Washington or no, but we played Oregon first.
Oh, so
and then Seattle, and then I think we did like, and then went back down and then through Cali. I don't remember. Yeah.
I need to get out to the West Coast. I haven't been out there. I mean,
that was the only time I've ever been was that Aqueous Big Something tour. I'm still obsessed with San Diego.
That was so cool that they did that. I was very jealous to not go to the West Coast with them because it's just so different, you know? You don't get a lot of jam band shows on the West Coast.
And for me, San Diego felt like home. Like I grew up in Florida and I grew up at the beach, and it's like interesting too because again, I'm a 90s girl. So it's like for me, like all those like 90s SoCal vibes that like I had like experienced just through like music and the fashion and like and you know and all of that, but then to actually like roll up in San Diego on Ocean Beach and it just felt like so home. Right. I'm so convinced I will eventually live in San Diego at some point. I have to. I have to. I'm gonna do it.
I haven't spent any time there. I actually did do a layover flight in San Diego on my way to Hawaii with my aunt and uncle like decades ago, but that was the only time, and we just stopped at the airport. You know, like it wasn't like I got to do anything. So my goal is to do a West Coast loop at some point in life, but
I'd really love to do a West Coast train tour, like just hop on a train at like in like Washington and just go straight down. That'd be really fun. I love traveling by train.
I know. I'm always sad that there's not a train. There should be a train going straight north and south through. I personally think the whole state, if not all the way along the Rockies, you know, like there should be a train down like the mountain range, you know. Why isn't there?
I don't know. Engineering probably.
Yeah, totally. So, well, not even just in there, you know, but like 25 is a nightmare. I-25 outside of freaking pandemic days is a nightmare. Like it's disgusting.
I can remember I haven't spent a lot of time in Colorado, but when I was there for the first Twiddle like that Twiddle stick figure Red Rock show, I had to do some like errand running, like back and forth, like from Denver into like some of the like suburbs, but then back and I was like and I would like Google map it and it would be like, oh, that's like 10.4 miles. And then I'm like, it felt like a SpongeBob episode. And then I was like 3 hours later. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm not like here in Buffalo, like you're just not used to that. Like it takes you like people like get upset because it takes 20 minutes to go like 5 miles. Like if it's like traffic slow or something's like off, like people like you just don't have that here. Florida during tourist season, now that's a nightmare.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No,
but that's because most people can't see over the steering wheels.
Or they shouldn't be like.
So they they either can't see over the steering wheel or can't see far enough in front of them, and most of them should not be driving.
I mean, I haven't spent a lot of time there, but I can imagine. I mean, it is a state of retirees, right? Like that.
Yes, and a lot. There have been times too where like I've rolled up on a car and like the person driving the car has been so short and so hunched over. I literally looks like nobody's driving the vehicle from behind. I'm like, is there somebody in that like because like they don't like the they don't like the hair doesn't. Sometimes you can see maybe a little bit of like
hair,
mature hair popping out over the top, but. Oh, God bless them. God bless. God bless Florida. Just God bless it.
All I can think of is like the man in Florida. You know, like a man in Florida. And that's what
it's so true. It's my mom worked in corrections. She's a probation officer for many, many years in Florida, and
she's a hard.
I know things I shouldn't know. It's scary what happens in that state.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine. We could do a whole episode just about your stories in Florida.
Well, and again too, I'm a true crime junkie, so I know a lot of like Florida-based like true crime stuff that is really, really weird. Yeah.
That's so funny. I bet it's just interesting ways to get rid of people in Florida. Like, you're not landlocked. You got a lot of options.
You got gators, you got swamp, you got
ocean.
Yep. All kinds of places to hide a body.
Funny. I can't do the true crime stuff because I get nightmares.
See, it's really funny because I am a really like anxious person. I have a lot of high anxiety. And for some reason, like if I can't sleep, Forensic Files, that shit is like fucking Ambien. I'll listen to like half an episode and I'm just like out. And I don't know what that says about me. Unsolved mysteries. Oh, like especially like the old school stuff with Robert Stack, that creepy ass music. I will fall asleep and sleep like a baby. It's great. I love it.
So funny. I couldn't. We used, well, and this is a little different, I suppose. This is more just like gore and death, but we used to watch The Walking Dead, like every season of The Walking Dead, and I had to cut it off at one. I was just like, I'm not gonna watch this at night anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I can't do it anyway. I don't even like it. I was watching it because my husband liked it, you know, and we were only dating at the time, so I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, I can't. It's funny to me. I can't watch like stuff like. I remember like everybody talks about what a great show Breaking Bad is. I couldn't get through the first episode because there's like that scene in the first episode where they're like breaking a body down and I couldn't do it. Yeah. And same thing like Walking Dead, any of that stuff, like horror films, like except for like old school like 80s like Friday the 13th because those are so ridiculous.
Yeah, totally.
But like
we can watch the Freddy vs. Jason too because those are funny. Like those are entertaining. But,
those have like some comical value, but like I can't watch that. But like give me a documentary on serial killers and show me crime scene photos of like actual stuff, and I'm like blow the picture up. Let me see. Like it's so weird. Like I can't take the fake stuff, but the real stuff, I'm like,
well,
all for it.
Intriguing. It's fascinating for sure. Especially like psychology has always really interested me, so I could see that, like how it is super interesting for people. I had a lot of my friends are that way, like love the true crime and stuff. I'm like, are you? Wow. I just would have nightmares. I wouldn't, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm a big wimp and I only watch comedy if I'm watching anything.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm a sucker for some good rom-coms.
Yeah.
Especially so like, I like Secret Confession. So it used to be people would ask me like what my favorite movies were. And I would have this like laundry list of like hoity-toity, like art films and like foreign films. And then I had this sort of like realization that those aren't my favorite movies at all. Like give me like, well, Monty Python's Quest for the Holy Grail is my favorite movie of all time. But then give me like Bring It On, the original. Yeah. Love it. Mean Girls, amazing. 10 Things I Hate About You. I could watch it every night.
That was my favorite movie. That and Save the Last Dance were my favorite movie for like a amount of years.
I cry at the end of Save the Last Dance when he's like, off the record, welcome to Juilliard. I'm always like,
did you ever see that meme though, where it's like, we all thought this was the flyest dance in you watch it now, you're like, what?
Like, what is she doing? So 90s.
I'm into it, dude. And Clueless was fire back.
Oh yeah, Clueless.
But then my favorite 2000s like rom-coms are for sure Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and then I Love You, Man. Those Paul Rudd.
One of the first times I ever remember seeing Paul Rudd was a film he did with Reese Witherspoon called Overnight Delivery, and I just was obsessed with him from that. And then he did Clueless. They're just like so great.
I love.
Yeah, like for me too. I'm also like again because like 90s. Like I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. So like Dogma, Chasing Amy, all the Clerks movies. Those are in that top list for sure.
So good. I have a friend back home that my mom always calls Silent Bob. Because he looks
I love Kevin Smith. I'm just like
call him his normal name.
I'm just a sucker for stuff that like makes me feel good when it comes to like pop culture stuff. Like I'm the same thing about music too. Like it's really interesting because I think some people are pretty like surprised by like my musical range. Like and as far as like I'll listen to Fish, I'll listen to The Dead, I'll listen to all this jam stuff. But like give me a good solid pop record.
Yeah, I'm like, right there with you.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, like that, like I know a lot of people are like Billie Eilish and like you know kind of like Granny's Robot. I was like, have you listened to this album like from like a pop standpoint? I mean you have to live under a rock these days to realize that like I'm like or to not know I'm obsessed with Harry Styles.
Right.
Obsessed. Like his new music is amazing and it's not bad to look at. you
I
know.
don't even know. I don't think I know who that is. But
You do, because unfortunately everybody has been bombarded with that damn Watermelon Sugar song.
No, I've never heard it.
You've
I have
never
a
heard it?
12-year-old and I've never heard it. Don't tell me.
That's crazy.
I made it this far. It was like when that one chick. No, I'm just kidding. I would probably love it, and that's the problem. But I've had friends tell me that they can't stand that one and some other one. There was another one that was kind of. I don't know if it's because the TikTok world too, because I don't do the TikTok stuff. So like, I am this like old lady walking around my kitchen listening to podcasts, you know what I mean? Like, or, you know, like not even, it's weirder than that, but we want.
I've been thinking about, when I was in college, we used to do lip sync competitions all the time. And I've won a few. I won a couple. That. I got some lip sync trophies on my proverbial trophy shelf. And I've been thinking about doing some TikTok stuff.
Ooh, yeah,
but I'm so tepid to do it. But my daughter, my oldest daughter, my 21-year-old, has like 10,000 followers on TikTok. She does.
I know. How do you do that? How does it work?
What? I'm like,
because
she doesn't.
I've gotten the app on my phone before, and I'm just like, I don't even understand what.
Like, how do I do this?
Where do I go? I am really terrible with technology. No one that knows me thinks I'm good with technology, right? Like everyone knows I am slow. My phone got stolen at summer camp in 2017, and I just like straight up would not get a phone for 2 years. You know, Tara. Tara got me a phone because she was like, "You're getting married this summer, and you don't even have a phone to like make plans. What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing." But I was so mad. But anyway, technology. I don't get it. TikTok. I'm
gonna figure it out though.
Please tell me when you do, because I'm like, if you could get millions of people to listen or like look at, like, how does that work?
But do millions of people really want to watch me lip sync to some pop song that has been overplayed to begin with?
That dude, what was that video? Freeze used it, and I think it was a TikTok, and it was this guy like carrying a Snapple lip singing a song.
Oh yeah, he was like riding
skateboarding.
He was skateboarding to work, singing a Fleetwood Mac song.
Yeah.
And he got like
they got a car. Yes. I'm like, this is some magic shit I need to be on. What is happening? But I'm too intimidated. I'm too scared.
Yeah.
But it would be fun.
I don't know. I also like at some point for me, like again, like I always try to like think of myself as like youthful. But then at some point, I'm like, I'm 45. Should I be doing like shit on TikTok? Like, things like Snapchat. Like, I don't Snapchat.
Oh, I don't
even understand what the point
I don't
of it
understand Snapchat though. And it's not, I feel like that's not the same, like it's not the same vibe even. Like Snapchat.
No, totally
weird,
different.
Like creepy thing. You know, like for me, that's what it started as, was this weird thing where you could send a sneaky picture and it would just vanish. So like people were being sluts about it.
But see, that's my whole thing. Like my whole thing is with technology, cool.
Sure.
But like, if you were sending a picture to somebody that you this is where the old lady mom in me comes in, where I'm like, if you're sending a picture to somebody where you feel so uncomfortable with that picture remaining, that you want it deleted instantly, you probably shouldn't be sending the photo anyway. You know, and that's not to say like I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I haven't sent the occasional, you know, like photo. No. But like I also know who I'm sending it to, and I feel like I trust that that's not going to end up like, you know.
Exactly. And
if any of my children are listening to this, I've never sent any kind of a risque photo ever. That's just an example. Never done it. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Phones back in the day when they first had cameras.
Oh man, the worst pictures ever. Like that's the thing. Like I feel like kids today have like no like grasp on like I can remember trying to take a group selfie, so to speak, with a disposable camera.
Yeah.
You had no idea.
For sure.
You would get those pictures back and like
an elbow.
Yeah, it's like an elbow. Like the first time I had a digital camera where you could like turn around and actually see, okay, yo, oh nope, bring it down a little bit. Okay, nope, like you get in here more. All right, cool, like sweet, like Oh Lord.
You always have the like 75 chins. You always have the like 75 chins too, because you're trying to get in the frame.
Like I look back to it, like photos like that I took like when I first started doing that, and like they were always like way down here. So
Yeah.
here's a really interesting thing, like, and I like look for this now because a lot of people don't realize it. If you look at selfies, right, and you go through, like, just scroll through like your friends' profiles, women all take selfies from up here because the angle from up here, chin, and it makes you look like smaller and tinier. Dudes all take their selfie pictures from up here or like super far away, and then like they look like they have no necks, but they also look like they're towering over whatever the situation is. And I think it's really interesting that like gender difference on like taking photos that way,
and it shows up so clearly, you know, like where the mind is at. Like the woman is trying to, which that's so funny because that's the whole point of this damn show, is to talk about like, how is it different for women? And not really, but like that was where my head was at when I started it, right? It was like, there are like women that are just like carrying this industry silently sometimes. Not always, but like you see it, you know, like I don't know, like you know, female musicians just like sprinkled throughout, or like, you know, I guess what did it for me was I worked at the Mish, and it was like no one even talks to the venue staff is like just treated like a bar staff anywhere, but like they're just as cool as all the bands floating through. They want to work at the music venue because they love music that much. That's why I was there anyway, and that's why most of my friends were there too, you know. And it's like no one talks to this, like they're a huge piece of this puzzle, you know, like you need the venue staff, you need the servers, you need the bartenders, and it's always women, and not always women. There are a lot of male bartenders, I think, here and there, but it depends on, and servers, but it just depends on where you're at too. But anyway.
You know, it's really interesting. Like, I mean, because that's sort of like the point of the podcast. I mean, it's a subject we haven't really like broached yet. Like, it's really interesting. And I was actually just having this conversation with somebody. Like, it's such a weird thing being a woman in a touring music industry standpoint, because what I found was always like really interesting to me is that if we were on the road, or I actually would see this more when because I work at the town ballroom. So that's, you know, that's something else I didn't mention. So kind of right before the pandemic happened, I actually got a full-time, or not full-time, but like I got like a position at the town ballroom here in Buffalo, which I was super excited about, doing merchandise coordination and like artist relations for our shows, which is super awesome. But I would always find this like really interesting thing on the days when I would stagehand is you'd have these touring crews come in, and you'd instantly see I was the only girl, and I say girl with affection, woman, lady. I was the only girl on the crew most of the time. Sometimes there was one other girl that worked with me, but it would always be like super stuffy and really stiff, and you could tell like nobody wanted to say it. Like everybody was like like kind of like treading very lightly, and it would always be like me that would have to make like the first like crass joke, or the first that's what she said, or like something like that. And then like once I did that, it was like all bets were off. Like I was one of the dudes. But like it's really interesting just to see like the difference of like what that dynamic changes. But and like and another funny story, like on the opposite side of that, and I'm not going to say what venue it was, and I won't say what city it was in, but anybody who knows Aqueous, I think, will get a really good kick out of this. Is, you know, I mean, like first of all, like I was a competitive athlete. Like I can lift some stuff, you know. Like I'm not a strong woman. I'm not lifting like, you know, 300,000 pounds, but like I can hold my own. And we were at a venue. We were loading in, and I was going, this guy was kind of struggling with like a piece of equipment, and I like ran up to like go grab the other side of it, and he's like, no, sweetheart, it's okay, why don't one of you guys help me? And he points to fucking Mike Ganser and Dave Loss, and I'm like, I could bench press these guys. They're so tiny. Like I love Mike Ganser to death, but that dude is like he's so tiny, you know. It'd be like it was just, I was like, what? Like
that's so funny. That's so funny.
That was when I was like,
oh, I can hold my own. I promise you. I wouldn't offer if I couldn't help carry this
like,
fucking. That makes
I was like,
I'm like, I can do it.
It's like, Jesus Christ, I'm not like an invalid over here. Like,
I hate
so
that.
it's so like, so you really do get it. Like you get it from like both sides. Like, and
it's almost like they're trying to be nice, but it's like over, like it's over correcting.
Yeah. And so you really, I feel like sometimes with like being a woman in this industry, you have one extreme or the other. You don't really have that balance a lot of times. People either think you don't know anything, or another great example was summer camp 2019.
Yep.
I had traveled with the guys and I didn't really have merch duties. So I would help like load in, load out, do all that stuff. And like, I was helping Rob. One of the few things I had learned to do that summer was learn how to break Rob's, like how to help him set up and break down his drum kit.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there post show, Rob's off doing something, and I'm working with one of the stagehands and explaining to him how we need to break the kit down. And so we're like breaking the kit down, and then Rob shows back up. So I leave because like, I'm like, Rob's here. They don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
And the dude starts trying to get my attention. And Ryan Bress and Sam Hospicer, who are, you know, respectively the lighting designer, tour manager, see the guy trying to get my attention. And they're like, yo, dude, what do you need? And the guy's like, yo, I need your drum tech real quick. And I was like, wait, I'm the drum tech now? So like, that was like, yes. So it's like, just interesting that like, if you have like if you even have just the smallest amount of knowledge and you showcase that, a lot of times people like assume that like you're an expert in it.
Yeah.
Or like people just assume that like you don't know anything at all. You know, I can't tell you, I usually have some kind of a running joke on tour on how many days it'll be on a particular tour before somebody asks me which member of the band I'm dating. That happens a lot.
Of course.
Which is really kind of funny because on Aqueous tour, I would always tell them I wasn't dating any of them, and I would tell them that Mike was my son.
I love that.
I'm like, none of them. That's my son. I always liked that one. That one was great. Just to see the reaction on that. But
like,
oh,
so you still get a free drink then?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah. I'm not dating anybody. You want to buy me a couple? Come on, I need that.
Yeah, that is actually a really common thing I've found with people I've talked to is that, you know, it's just the same as regular life. Some people don't take you seriously just because you're a woman. Some people think you don't know anything just because you're a woman, but most people are cool.
Yeah, most.
Right. You always have
75%. But you know, it's always that 25% of those assholes that always like, that's what you remember. And that's the unfortunate thing. Like you remember that stuff. But, yeah.
Well, we hopefully more women just like get into this scene. Like that's what my mega bummer for 2020 was, that I was going to start learning how to do lighting and do sound for like the Aggie. My so the people that own the Mish had bought they had bought the Aggie. I don't think they have it anymore because like they had just bought it and then COVID is like they had maybe one season, you know, and then so anyway, they nope, I lost why I was telling you about the Aggie though.
Because you were going to do lighting and sound.
Oh yeah, they were doing these seminars, right? They had just started and they were going to do, like they had done one, but I was super pregnant or like had just had my baby or something. Like I couldn't get to that one, but I was booked to go to the next one and like really start learning from like local musicians and also like some bigger people, you know, how to run lights and shit. And then it all just kind of halted, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, I'll get there eventually. I'll just be a little older than I had anticipated, you know? But
and I said the same thing. Like, I know I had a really good friend of mine I was actually talking to about this because I was like, you know, what if I start school and like, what if I finish this and then like a tour comes knocking and he was just like really like, he's like, well, then you can go do the tour. He's like, you'll all be there, you know, like, you know, just because you're doing X doesn't mean, you know, you can't do this anymore. So I'm hoping, I don't know, like as much as like I want a backup plan and I really love this course of action that I'm on, like I'm secretly kind of hoping that like maybe during the summers or just like, you know, like locally I still have my ties to the ballroom. So I have that hopefully that job. And,
for street team stuff or whatever when things arise.
Yeah. And I'm doing some work for some local bands too. I'm still working for Big Something. I'm working for Functional Flow and Cold Lazarus here based out of like Buffalo and Jamestown respectively. So it's,
so you've been talking to Emily then.
Still keep my fingers and toes dipped in all the little pots.
Right. And that's the thing, I think, is just finding a balance. Like you can do this part of you and that part, you know, like I think we get good at that too, as mothers particularly. Like you just wear a lot of hats, you just wear all the hats, you know, and and then it translates over to regular life too, you know. Like I always have that very separate, like my husband doesn't go to shows, or like he really likes music, but he just doesn't like crowds. He had tubes in his ears when he was a little kid, you know. So I imagine that, like, I don't know, it was painful / changes what you're hearing, right? And so he's not a big fan of going to the big loud venues and everything. So anyways, he's been like, he'll hang out with my 12-year-old while I go hang, you know, with my friends, but then I still come back, I'm still not, you know what I mean? Like two separate, it feels kind of funny sometimes, like we've got this alter ego or something that goes out to shows. But that's how you would be, Dr. Kat.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm a Gemini, so there's always that duality. There's always two sides to me anyway.
No,
always two
Lauren's
sides.
a Gemini. Lauren always talks about that.
You can't trust us. You never know what you're going to get. We're shady.
No, I feel like because I have been so close to Lauren for as long as I have learned how to, what's the word, like maneuver around said Gemini-isms.
Yes. Because it's, you know, everybody always says like, well, which one are you today? And I'm like, look, you think it's confusing for you. I have to wake up every morning to decide which one I am today. Yeah. Like, you know, I got to figure it out too. It's not even deciding. I just got to figure out which personality.
Yeah. Where am I at in the world today? Yeah. And totally. And I'm like, I'm just going to be here and be supportive wherever you're at. Yeah. Because it's a very, I mean, I'm not like an astrology, like I don't let it dictate my life, right? Like I'm not looking at my horoscope every day or anything, but I do think there's something to it, you know? Yeah. See, you and Lauren are you on Co-Stars?
No. I listen to a podcast every morning that does like a real general thing. I look at my astrology, because like your sign, like your sun sign is like 1/10 of like really what's going on.
You need Co-Stars.
Yeah. And
it goes into your moon sign, your rising sign,
I do. So I have a program that I utilize that I look into that like every so it's
like I gotta know what it is, because I
have to look it up. It's an app. It's like natal chart, some kind of like natal chart thing, and like because
that's how Co-Stars work. They like you put in your like actual birth time, and then it goes off of all your, you know, like it's like, hold on, downloading NASA data, like whatever. So it's pretty neat. It's pretty spot on. But then you can also like, she's my friend on there, so I can see like what our horoscopes like combined.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, like how you would be interacting. You could, it's like any other social media where you could have friends and then see like what interactions it's pretty neat.
You have just blown my mind. I'm so excited about it.
Like,
I'm writing this down.
It sounds like something that you would be interested in.
I'm like, how do I not know about this?
Yeah, she told me that's the only reason I know, because like I said, I'm not like, I know I'm a Taurus, right? Like that's kind of my knowledge. I'm an earth sign. It's probably why I don't like to swim. Like my husband's always like, you can't swim. I'm like, I can swim. I grew up with an in-ground pool. I just don't like being wet. But that's like all I know about Taurus. I'm an earth sign. And I'm stubborn as shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, that sums it up. That's really about all you need to know.
Yeah, but Co-Stars. But it helps me though. I like knowing that, because then I like make it a point to not be stubborn. You know what I mean? Like I realize that I have to work. It's kind of like your shadow self kind of thing, you know? Yeah. But it's cool. You know, I like seeing the interactive piece, you know?
To me, there's like just something to it. Like if you really look at it from like a scientific standpoint, like your body is made up of what is this statistic? Like 75% water.
Yeah.
And like, so at the moment that you're born, like the sky and the planets and all of that, like gravity, all of it is at a certain set. Okay. And as things shift and move, like what's to say that doesn't play some effect on like chemical levels, water levels, things like that, which like change certain like moods and like regulatory things. So I definitely think that there's some actually actual real science behind it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't either, but I think so. I think especially, you know, where science is like in the quantum field these days and like entanglement and everything's connected, like, so why wouldn't it be? You know, like you've got energy coming from these specific stars that are these specific distances away that could impact you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we don't even understand this universe enough to just totally discredit it, right? You know, like that's always what bothers me is like, you don't have to believe in it, but to just be like, it's bullshit. Like, you know, how could you know that? There's no way you could know that. You know, prove that it's bullshit.
My brother used to have this saying that he would say to me all the time, and I really, really like it, where he would say, you know, we know what we know, and we know what we know we don't know, but there's this whole like
you're not even
chunk there's this whole chunk of things where you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
You know, like I can say like I don't know quantum physics, but like there could be like a whole like other things that I don't even know exist, like things like, you know, like and
that's the thing
I love that thought.
I need to explain to my husband because he's a mechanic and he's very like mechanically minded, right? Or like how things, you know, whatever. And so I always have to tell him like, I don't even know what questions to ask you because I know so little about what we're talking about. So like, I don't even know, like you have to go baby steps, you know, like I always try to tell, like what you think is baby steps is not baby steps because you have to explain, you know, like he'll say a piece, like some part of a car. And I'm like, I've never heard of that before. Like, you have to explain what that is and what that does, you know, like it's.
Oh yeah. I find David and I, Birdsey and I have this conversation all the time because like sometimes he'll be explaining something to me and then all of a sudden there's this like chunk of information that's missing. And so I'll ask like, well, why did that happen? Or why would you do that? And sometimes he gets defensive because when the minute I ask a question, he assumes that I'm questioning what he's telling me versus like, no, dude, you just left out a bunch of information and I don't understand. And I need you to explain it a little bit more. And then he'll always be like, oh, well, you didn't know that this, and this. I was like, no, why would I know that? Like, you're the one that just read the like 17-page article on like whatever website you've been scouring all day. I've been in my office listening to Harry Styles and doing statistics. I don't know what's going on. You know?
Oh my god, yeah, it's so true though. Like you don't know what you don't even like. You don't even know that.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's wild to think about. But yeah, co-stars, get it.
I'm gonna check it out now.
And then add me and Lauren. You and
Lauren, I totally will.
You and Lauren would just like relate on so many. She always refers to the fact that she's a Gemini. I'm a Gemini. I'm like,
it's just an excuse. It's an excuse for bad behavior. It's always. Just an excuse for why we do things wrong. The bad twin, the good twin, you never know. Any given day. Any given day.
I love that. That's so funny. But we were talking about that for a reason. I'm like,
who knows?
I don't know. But I do want to say that I want to schedule a meeting, like one of these, but with Ashley, Driscoll, and Emily. Like all.
Yes, let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it for sure.
It would be so much fun. I'm like, we all know, like I know you all know each other, right? And I know you all, but we've never all been in the same spot at the same time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would make sense because I think there have been times where it's been like me, Emily, and Ashley, and I think there have been times where it's been like you, me, and Emily. But never. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know. It's a weird one. And I met you all just straight up individually. It's just so funny. Like.
Yeah. Well, and we knew each other for like a good couple of years just because you were doing street team stuff for Aqueous before I actually ever like met you in person.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is always a weird dynamic because it's like, okay, well, this one sucks.
Yeah.
This one's not doing shit. You know? I'm like, I really love this band.
I love all of my street teamers equally. They're like my children.
Yeah, right. I bet you have favorites for days. But Which I'm gonna have to pick your brain about that sometimes. We're gonna have to start writing down like this episode of Kat and it's having 3 hours about fucking co-stars.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you all my secrets, but I need your credit card number, and it's gonna be $3.99 a minute. That's my consultation
You're gonna
fee.
be my mentor. I will pay you. Teach me your ways, because I'm like, how do I start a street team? Like, I've seen Kat do it. Like, but the shit you were doing with the giveaways and stuff, like. Dude, I couldn't, like, you're like randomizing it. I'm gonna do it on screen. Like, it was so fun. It was so fun.
See, but a lot of that is just stuff I learned from, you know, before I started doing a lot of all of like this like marketing stuff. I love pins. And I know I say pins wrong. The word, that's a weird thing about me. The word PEN, like a writing pin.
The pin.
And because watch, now I won't have one. Yeah, see, I don't have one easily sitting in my desk drawer. Oh shit.
I have.
And like a hat pin.
This?
Yes, that sounds the same to me. I don't hear a difference. In fact, this has always been an issue for me. When I was in college, one of my best friends, her name was Ginny, Ginny, short for Virginia, and I would call her Ginny, and she's like, no, it's Ginny. I'm like, I don't hear the difference. Like, I don't. It's the same. It's the same. And people will literally say that to me. They're like, blah and blah, and I'm like, you're saying the same word. I just don't hear it. But you know, like that goes like to a really like interesting thing, you know, where like, you know, some like sound guys can hear certain frequencies or hear things. Like I've watched some sound guys like can sit in a room. Like this was a great example. Like the guy was saying, like this one sound guy for a particular band was like looking at our sound guy in the room at Ballroom, and he's like, nope, this is off. And the dude was like, no, it's not like that. I would never set it up that way. And the guy was like, no, dude, I'm telling you. And the sound guy was like, rah, 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 and like went over to the board and was like, oh fuck, yeah, that was wrong. And like that's crazy to me. Like, and that's just it. Like some people can hear things and some people can't. But
well, and that just speaks to, that's like, that reminds me of the dress. You remember?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like we're all living in totally different worlds. Yeah. You know, when it comes to like how differently we hear things and how differently apparently we see things, like if that's the case, then none of us are living the same. Like we already know none of us are living the same thing, right? But like, how could you be mad at someone if you can never, ever, ever understand where they're at? You know what I mean? Like if you're hearing it and it sounds perfect to you, you know,
that sounds perfect.
You're gonna argue that it sounds perfect, right? Yeah. Like, but maybe the point is that we shouldn't be arguing what we're perceiving because
perception is so reality. Like that's the thing. Perception is reality. My perception, your perception, two different, both are reality.
Exactly.
But so the reality of all of this, going back to it, is that I'm really into like pins. I love lapel pins, hat pins, whatever you want to call them. Love them, love them, love them. Make them, collect them, sell them, buy them, trade them. Yeah. So a lot of the stuff that I do in that regard is all stuff we just do in the pin groups. Right. So I learned it from pinning.
I've seen that for Humphreys, but I've not pins for me. I always looked at it when I was real broke, like when I had a baby and was 20, you know, and I'm just like, these rich kids, they just buy pins. Like those things are so expensive to just spend $25 on a pin. You know, like I was so upset, or more, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes much more, but like now I'm like, why did I even give a shit? You know what I mean? Like
it's just a hippie stock market. You know, sometimes you spend $15 at a merch table at your first Twiddle show and buy a Frankenfoot, and then 2 years later, you turn around and sell it for $333. You know, like
that's so good. But I've never been a business person. That's probably what the problem is. I'm like, my brain wouldn't even have gone that way in the first place. But that is so smart because I do see them go. It's kind of like the Tumblr thing, you know, like you bedazzle a Tumblr. Some assholes got $2,000 for it.
Yep. You know. The fair market value is whatever somebody's willing to pay for something at the time that it's Yeah, like I'm kind of going through that right now. Like I have been trying to get my hands on as many copies of, so Harry Styles, again, obsessed, but he was just on the cover of American Vogue for December 2020, and he's the first man to ever appear on the cover solo.
Cool.
So other guys have been on the cover, but they've always been with other women.
Yeah.
And so this is the first time that they've ever had a man.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I've got one copy for myself, and then I'm just like, gobbling up copies wherever I can get it, so that like when this thing becomes valuable later, and if not, then I'm just gonna have like a lot of the magazine. But maybe, who knows, maybe I can fund a trip to Europe on my Harry Styles Vogue.
Huge. Vogue has been a magazine for a long time. You know, so like you're the first man solo. That's huge. Right?
And wearing a dress to boot. He's wearing a dress on the cover.
I don't know anything about this dude. I need to, I'm
going to send you.
I probably just misappropriated him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know does he classify himself as him? And
yeah. I believe he uses the he, him pronouns. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think my last hope would be to offend someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I think just for him, like the way that everything I read, like fashion is just not a gender construct. Like there's like accessories are accessories, like items are items, like, you know, and I think a lot of it too, you know, like it's, maybe it's partly being British, you know, like the kilts and dresses and, you know, it's like, that's really horrible to say it, but say it that way. But no, but like
a little more flexible than
yeah. You know, I just think that like there are people out there that just like I said, like they don't view fashion as needing to have gender norms. Right. And I like to play a little bit with that too. Like I'll be the first person to admit, like I'm very gender fluid when it comes to like my sense of fashion and style. And, you know, like, I mean, I guess like as a woman, you can really do that too, but I like playing with that, like difference. I've been doing that since college. Like I actually in college, it's really funny because now, you know, 2020, like we look at it as like gender fluidity, but I can remember like being like going out with my friends, like going to like Busch Gardens. We used to do Busch Gardens all the time because I went to college in Virginia. And I would like show up to go out. My friends are like, why are you dressed like a dude? And I was like, because I just feel like dressing like a guy today. Like, and sometimes I just felt like a guy today. Like, I just felt like, you know, like that's what I feel like today, you know, like that's the mood I'm in. I want to be, but like it's interesting. I've told some people, actually I've told a lot of people about this, but so what's really, really interesting too, kind of going back to like the women in music thing. So one of the things I did during quarantine in April, and I've been letting it sit for a while, is I wrote a book.
Nice.
And I wrote a fiction book.
Cool.
And it's about a woman who works in the music industry and the relationship that she has with her artist, like one specific particular artist. And originally when I wrote the book the first time, I made the main like male protagonist, I made his best friend, his tour manager, then I made it a guy. And when I went and redid the second version of it, I changed the gender and made her a female. And I really wanted to like explore this idea of like women as they are perceived. Like I wanted to write her character as I want women to be perceived in the music industry,
not the way
versus how they are.
Yeah.
And so that's been like a really interesting.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm hoping that I'm going to work more on it as school wraps up. And
it's just like any other art, you know, it's never finished. Like it doesn't ever have to be finished. It could always be a living thing, you know?
Yeah. Like, I loved it when I first finished it. I was like, I wrote a book. This is so great. And then now I read it and I'm like, oh, this is shit. Like this is terrible. And I wonder if like that's like how musicians feel, I think too, from time to time. Like, you finish an album and you're like, this is great. And then like 2 years later, you listen to it and you're like, oh, this is horrible. I wish we'd done this different, this different, this different, this different.
Right. Yeah. But we shouldn't beat ourselves up about that either though. You know, it's like that we all have to evolve. Like if you're not evolving, then you're like stagnant, and then what's the point, you know? Like
see, now that's funny. As a Taurus, I would expect you not to say something like that.
What do you mean? What would I say?
Because Tauruses usually don't like change. They like things to be very like consistent and and yeah.
What do you mean? Do you say tourists?
Yeah, no, Taurus. Taurus, yeah.
Taurus. I was like, tourist? I'm not a tourist. I don't go anywhere.
I might have. I used to have a lisp, so who knows? I could have like put a little
no.
on
It's
the end
I'm
of it.
sure the technology, but like
Yeah.
weird. I don't know. But anyway, I live for change. I like change.
I really want to see your chart now. I'm definitely doing co-stars.
Yeah.
I want to know what your rising sign is. Don't tell me. I want to see this.
I
I'm gonna
won't. I
join
can't
it.
even remember.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta check it out.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think I think I know what it is. You guess.
Well, I want to say that I definitely think that, okay, so this is like a weird thing. So I definitely think your Mercury is in Gemini.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a guess on that.
It might be. I don't know.
Because your Mercury is always either in your sun sign or it's one sign over or under.
Okay.
And you talk too easily and you can flip back and forth within conversation. I feel like your Mercury has to be in Gemini.
Okay. And my best friend, she's Gemini, you know?
Yeah. It's so hard. Like, I don't know. I don't want to guess because, like, I mean, I've got like a 1 in 12 shot of getting it right. But or no, I get no one. Hold on. I'm studying statistics. It's 1 in 11 because it's one response correct, 11 incorrect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I learned. See, now I can be a bookmaker. No.
No, I think because now that I think about my personality, it makes total sense what my rising sign would be. But yeah, I
definitely want to say I think it's air. So I definitely think it's an air sign, and I will say it's either Aquarius. It's either Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini. That's what I feel like you're rising. Maybe Sagittarius. You could have some Sag in there. There could be some fire.
Maybe.
That's what I
feel like I need to look because I'm like,
all right, look it up. Look it up real quick.
Okay.
Just look
I don't remember any of them, but I do know that like my personality is like extroverted, introvert, or vice versa. You know what I mean? And it kind of correlates to my signs too. You know, like.
Yeah, I am totally an introvert.
Yeah. I'm like, really? That's weird. No. Why are we able to talk for 2 hours?
Oh my God.
I know. I'm like, no one's gonna listen to this one. It's like 7 hours long. We just sit here all day.
I swear, when you said to me, you don't have anywhere. Did you have anywhere to be, or like it was like 3:40. It was like 3:40. We've been doing this for like 40 minutes, and now I just looked at the clock and it's like an hour later. Holy shit! And then I'm wondering, I'm like, did we even talk about anything of substance?
Oh, you know? I mean, who knows?
I hope so. Who knows? Who cares? I don't know that I ever talk about anything of substance.
I know exactly. It's like, I don't have any substance to offer. I just wanted to do a show. I'm looking for substance and other things. But here, this is the substance. We're gonna get my.
All right.
Okay. The main sign is Taurus. The rising sign is Leo. I think that's where
yeah, that's right? Fire.
Yeah,
okay,
and
I can see that.
The moon sign is Aries.
Ooh, that's fire there.
I don't know.
Huh. What's your Mercury?
I'm looking. I think
because I know I'm gonna be wrong and look like an idiot, but
no, I think you're right because I feel like hold on, I gotta figure out this app now. I feel like I definitely have Gemini somewhere because it's just I think about it as Lauren, you know, I'm like, oh, there's Gemini, but Mercury, Gemini, you're right.
Nailed it.
Mercury and Venus. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, interesting. See, I'm a Sagittarius rising.
Okay.
Which makes me like really like I'm always up for an adventure. I like to travel, like all that stuff. But my moon, like, so now what's your moon? Where's your moon?
My moon is Aries.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. So like my moon is in Cancer. So that makes me like I'm super like I'm really sensitive. I cry about everything. I care about what people think. I'm the girl, like, again, I cry at the end of Save the Last Dance. So I'm just an emotional human. Yeah. And then my Mercury is in Gemini, which is like super. So when Mercury goes into retrograde and your Mercury is in Gemini, you might as well just shut your life down because nobody's going to understand a thing you say. It's like people, I'm like, I could literally be like this will be a perfect example. Like David will be like, have you seen my headphones? And I'm like, yeah, they're on top of the dresser. And then he'll come back and be like, I just went outside. They're not on top of the car. I'm like, that's not what I said at all. Like, what is going on? It's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
That's hilarious. That's so funny.
But my Venus is in Leo, so we have a lot of similar signs, sort of like in our charts in different places. But like that provides some.
Yeah, I mean, I was
harmony.
like, oh, there's the Gemini. That's part like, but I don't really. None of it registers. I'll read it every once in a while, and it doesn't like big picture. I can't get it. You know? And I can't zoom out, right? So I just read that days and I'm like, okay, whereas I think you're supposed to like be able to zoom out and like apply it to like things that are happening, throughout life. And I that's always my problem. I mean, I can figure out the big picture if it's like dealing with other people, but in my own life, like that's what this whole thing has helped me with. I've started journaling and, like keeping track of where I'm at and why and what I've been doing, you know what I mean? Like I will tell you that is something that I see. I feel very, very blessed and lucky that I don't like doing it sometimes, but I have such an easy time of being able to turn a mirror on myself and look at what I'm doing right or wrong and like, and admit it. Right. And I love change. I mean, literally I have a tattoo that says the only true constant is change. Like, so and for a lot of people, that's like, it seems like I'm always like reinventing myself or I'm always trying something different. But, again, it's that find what feels good, like what is working for me. And I think that is a really big challenge for a lot of people to step back and say, okay, like, this is the situation I'm in. I always tell a lot of people this, like when you're in a situation, if you were to reverse it and, you were to have one of your friends give you all the same information that about a situation that they were in as a situation that you were in, what advice would you give? And if it's not the same, if the advice you'd give your friend is not the advice that you're living, right, then it's time to make a change. But so many people have a really hard time to either like look within and say, okay, this isn't working, I need to fix it, because it's just another, I hate to say it this way, but it's another admission of failure. Sure. And to admit that you're wrong or to admit that something's not working, that is like the greatest challenge in human history. It really is. And I'm teaching the 5-year-old I'm watching that, like, I understand how hard it is to say sorry, and I didn't realize until just recently that I'm really bad at it. Like I'm really bad at just like, I was wrong, or even like, you don't have to be wrong about what you were talking about, but the way I handled it, like maybe I was right in what I was saying, but like I still handled it. And admitting that for some people is really, really hard. And like, luckily I tiptoe around life enough where I'm not trying to ruffle feathers. So I don't have to, like, at least in that light, like being aggressive or what, I don't have to apologize about stuff like that, but like still owning your missteps or whatever is hard. It's really hard to do, and it's practice, I would say, because you're still always gonna misstep and you're still always gonna have to figure out. Your hair coming back was so good. I was like coughing out of the way, like it doesn't matter, like it's not like it's, I have my head coming at me, like it's not gonna it's not. Dude, I tell you, there's a great mask that's floating around where it says it's a weed cough. Oh yeah. And I really like, I was like, I almost want to buy that because like I feel like I'll like wake up in the morning, especially like going to work at a testing site, and I'm like, I swear guys, it was just a bad bong hit last night, like. But again, if my children are listening, I don't smoke marijuana. I've never taken a bong hit in my life. Don't do it. It's bad for you. Don't do drugs. No. Ever. I always have to tell my kid, like, hey, even caffeine is a drug and you could get addicted to it, so easy, because he's just like, I want to try coffee, I want to try, but like the other stuff, like he's seen drunk people before and he has no interest in alcohol. Sweet. I'm like, he's like, you're never drunk. I'm like, what? Okay. Well, that's a good observation. Okay, but like, A+ job on the parenting there. I'm like, that's interesting. But he has seen people who like obviously don't manage it well. And he's like not interested, which I'm like thankful for, but then I'm like, but don't drink like those rock stars and shit, like high schoolers these days are like, give me the Monster. I'm like, why are you drinking Monster?
Yeah, you know, though, I think about like the follies of youth. Like when I think about the fact when I was like 14 and I was like, I'm never having sex. Sex is gross. And then I'm like, you know, and then by the time you turn like 18, I'm like, wait, what did I say 4 years ago?
That's hilarious. Yeah, totally. I know. That's what I tell them too. I'm like, you say that now, but one of your friends will say something to you that will at least shake you a little bit on how sure you are about that. But hopefully, you know.
Or you'll drink that first Malibu and pineapple and it tastes like juice and you're like, oh, this is it. Okay, cool. Let's throw them back.
Yeah, let's just do it. Well, my sister did that and wound up in the hospital when she was 17. And I think I called her. Well, my parents told me she was in that. Oh, she'd be so mad if she knew, but she will never watch this. But she was 17 and it was my freshman year of college, and my parents are like, your sister's in the hospital. I'm like, what the fuck? Like freaking out. And they're like, yeah, she was at a party last night. I'm like, and she was like fucking shit faced off of Malibu and juice. And I call her and I'm just like screaming in her ear because I know she's hungover as shit, you know, like what are you thinking? Now I'm like, why would I be mad? I was a freshman in college. Why was I that? Mad at her for
it's funny too for me. Malibu and pineapple is like my weird drink of choice when I was still like performing in bands, because like the pineapple juice like kind of coats your throat, and then you get like enough of the rum that it sort of loosens you up, but like it doesn't like mess you up vocally. That was my go-to. I would do it. We
were in bands, but I saw recently you made a post, I think, and I saw a throwback picture or something like that.
Yeah, I sang for a while. I did a couple different bands, and I'm with COVID now and like sort of like not having anything to like not really working in the industry. I'm just like I sing. I'm not, you know, I'm one of those pretend musicians that hangs out with real musicians. I just sing, but I really like writing. There's something like really like therapeutic for me writing like lyrically. And so I've actually been talking to a couple people and maybe putting both a tribute project and an original project together. We'll see what happens. But yeah.
Hey, Chad's always looking for a ghostwriter, I hear.
Okay.
You know Chad, right? Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Looking for a ghostwriter, and I was like, I really wish that could be me, but I feel like my brain's right now, like I'm in mom, like new baby.
Yeah,
and like not.
And the thing for me, most of the time when I write, like my writing process is I have a really hard time just sitting down and writing lyrics with no musical reference. Yeah. So it has to be about like what I hear when I listen, like when I listen to music, what do I hear and what does it pull out of me? And then a lot of times it's really personal. So for me, ghostwriting is weird because it's like, I don't know if like, you know, Chad wants to be singing the lyrics of about the life of a 45-year-old middle-aged woman from Buffalo, New York.
Who just watched Say the Last Dance is crying.
Yeah.
Or she's falling asleep to true crime.
Forensic Files.
Those can get weird.
Yeah. You never know. Oh boy.
That's awesome. We're gonna have to do more collaborations, I think, as a whole, because we're all available now.
I know, we have so much to do.
I know, and it's just like, it's so funny because I only talk to you in like really loud environments where I'm like, I know I would be friends with this woman, but I can't hear shit. So it's been really great to just be able to like actually hear you and be like, I got all of your words this time, every single.
I can't tell you, like literally, like by the end of a show, my head hurts from being like this all the time. I just want to give one piece of advice. So, okay, I know we don't have shows going on right now, but if you've made it this far, right? You've made it this far. Here's my big piece of advice. If you are talking to the person working the merch table during a show while the band are playing, they don't understand a word you're saying. They can't hear you. They're just nodding to be polite. I'm sure that I've probably agreed to things sometimes that I have no idea what I'm agreeing to, you know? It's like, it's just like, I don't know what you said, but yeah, okay, great, sure, awesome. You want to buy the shirt? I'll hold it for you. I don't know what else I got.
I've been saying we need sign language. We need it desperately in our community because like how much easier is it to turn to your friends and be like, water, water, and then go for fucking water, you know, versus like, water, you know, like it's so goofy. Like, why don't we use it? Just blows my mind.
Basic.
Adopted it.
You know what? Maybe that's maybe that could be our new thing. We're gonna do sign language for concerts.
I'm down. Water,
and we just
please, thank you. Start with those. Practice. Thank you, please. We'll start
water.
there.
Yeah, that's
water,
that's all you need to know.
Water.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just little ones, like little signs that you use frequently help a lot. Because I noticed that once I started, because like, you know, I've got my little crew, well, gargantuan crew that runs around. And I finally was like, you guys, like, I can't keep screaming, especially when we are the idiots doing every show of every run, you know, like we lose our voices the first or second day because we're like screaming at each other. I'm like, okay, look, let's at least be like water, bathroom, you know, like, so we're at least saving our voices to that extent.
So completely different subject, but kind of the same. Did you sign with your oldest and do you sign with your youngest?
I taught them both rudimentary sign. I didn't ever learn, like, I didn't learn it in school or anything. I was always a Spanish taker, but what I was doing before I had my newest was working with kids with special needs in the elementary schools. So I just learned a lot of sign through that. And one of my you know Melissa, I think, long blonde hair, you know Melissa, but she knows a lot of sign. She like got a degree in what we do. I just fell into it because you don't need a degree to just do what I was a para, so all you need is a high school diploma for that, which just blows my mind, right? But that's a whole other story. But we just use it constantly, you know, all day, every day, with our kids and with each other. Like, if you don't want them to know what you're doing, then you sign.
I did it with my oldest, and then my kids were so close together, like I have three. So my oldest and my oldest daughter and my middle son are 3 years apart. And then there's 23 months between the middle and the youngest. And so with my oldest Hunter, I used it with her. And for the longest time, like she would even continue to use it. Like I can remember she would, cause this is more, I think it's like this. And then she would, that's what it is. And then she would start to say please, but she would say please like that. She'd be like, please, like that. Like, and so she would do that for the longest time. But then with the two middle ones, I was just like, God, it's like when you've got your kids are that close together, it's like you just can't be bothered because you're.
Well, and they speak for each other at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my youngest was like forever before she talked because it was like she didn't need to because everybody just talked for her.
You got someone else saying they're hungry. You got someone else, you know what I mean? Like they're just along for the ride. They're like, life is awesome. I feel like that's how I was the oldest, so it's like I could see it. Like the personality, like that's one thing I really do. I'm like, oh, you're a middle child, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I can always tell like what birthing order, or if you even have siblings. Well, usually I'm pretty decent at it. See, now you're a mother, so it kind of throws a wrench in it at a point. I would have to talk to you a lot more. My guess would be oldest, but that's because you're a mom, I think.
Yeah, you know? I'm not the oldest.
You're probably the youngest.
And for me, it's a different situation because I'm the oldest I'm the youngest for my dad, but I'm my mom's only.
Oh yeah, so you got it's only.
Yeah, and my brother is the middle, and he's 11 years. We were 11 years apart.
Okay,
so it was almost
like you're kind of an only child at that point.
I'm a spoiled little brat.
Still youngest too. Yeah, but that. I could see that. I mean, it's interesting because youngest, when you're an only youngest, then you have still like some managerial skills and stuff, like more so even than like a middle child or young, you know, because you are solo, so you do have to like manage yourself a little bit.
Figure it out.
Yeah. Whereas if you were like a true youngest, of like, you know, kids that were kind of close together, and then you kind of turn into more of like a golden child thing, you know what I mean, or like the baby. Whereas if you're the only, yes, you're spoiled, you're the only, but you also do have to like fend for yourself because it's just you, you know, like it's a different dynamic. It's so interesting how personality can be affected. I hear my baby crying though, so we probably should.
Yeah, and I'm like now that it's 5 o'clock and I still have so much schoolwork to do.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take
No, it's all good. I needed the break. I've been studying all day.
I'm gonna probably
all day.
I always tell myself I'm gonna set a timer, but like I like really fluid conversation, and I like to end it when it feels like a natural.
And you could probably edit out half of it and nobody would even notice.
If I knew how to do that, I would maybe, but I don't. Sometimes I'll slap it on YouTube and call it good.
Sweet.
No,
because that's what the world needs is 2 hours of me just talking nonsense.
Hey, maybe they needed to know that astrology is more important than they think.
Yes,
maybe
they should.
Need to keep an eye on their Gemini friends. We don't know.
Yes.
Everyone can take different things from this.
Yeah.
For sure. We didn't talk about music at all.
Yeah. We did a little bit.
We totally did.
Look, I talked about the two most important things in my life right now. One of those is Harry Styles, and the other one's going to school. So other than that, I mean, we got it on lock.
I love that. Well, we will schedule another one for the four of us because that'll be so much fun.
Yeah, that'd be great. Let's do it. Do it.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. This has been awesome. Yes. And thank you for like just shooting the shit. It's been great.
Yes, it has been a great, like, this was a very fun conversation. I'm so glad we got to talk.
Cool. Thank you so much
for being here. And
absolutely.
See you soon, hopefully.
Yeah. All right. Fingers crossed. Have a good night, man.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.